Haiti's president pleaded with top officer during raid, "Come save my life." In an article by Edmond Demerch, he quotes and states, "For about 10 minutes, Haitian President Jovenel Moïse attempted to call security forces to counter the early morning raid that unfolded at his home earlier this month before he was assassinated," according to the report. The Miami Herald reported that Moïse called the Haitian National Police Commission and urged him to mobilize people. The report said that about 10 minutes passed and there were no signs of any security reinforcements at the scene. At one point, he called a tactical trained officer from the National Force. "I need your assistance now," the fallen president said. "My life is in danger. Come quick. Come save my life." There was silence and then the sound of an assault rifle, the report said. When it was over, Moïse lay sprawled on his bedroom floor. He had been shot in the forehead, chest, hip, and stomach, and his left eye was gouged. The suspected assassins were made up of Haitians, Haitian Americans, and former Colombian soldiers. The shooting occurred at Maurice Port-au-Prince home on July the 7th. The attack on the 53-year-old was carried out by foreign mercenaries and professional killers, well orchestrated, and that they were masquerading as agents of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. The paper said it all along with McCarthy Washington Bureau spoke to at least 3 people who received calls from the president's house on that morning. The paper said it is still a mystery how the team managed to get past several layers of security at the home. None of the president's security guards were hurt. When I sent you to protect a president, I don't send you to live. I send you to die protecting him, one member of the security detail told the paper. So far, police have detained more than 20 suspects they say were directly involved in the killing, including a contingent of former Colombian Special Forces soldiers. Other suspects were killed by authorities as they closed in on the assassins. The president was assassinated by a bunch of Colombian mercenaries. His home was infiltrated. It should not have happened. Haiti's a free republic. If the people weren't fans of the president, then you vote him out. You transition to the next president. But for certain individuals to hire and to have him murdered was horrifying and unjustified. Haiti is in great turmoil at this moment. Who knows if the country can truly recover from this horrendous action by these Colombian mercenaries that invaded Haiti and caused such detrimental harm.
The operation that led to Haitian President Jovenel Moïse middle of the night assassination early Wednesday was in the planning for at least a month and came together during meals around Port-au-Prince and at home where most of the men accused of the slaying were staying. Several people who interviewed some of the suspects told the Miami Herald they probably were watching and waiting for the opportunity for them to do it, said investigative judge Clement Noel, who was among the first to question the 2 Haitian Americans among the 19 suspects detained so far. James E. Salgos, 35, and Joseph G. Vincent, 55, both from South Florida, did not tell Noel why they chose the date that they did, July 7th, to launch the armed attack on Maurice's private residence. but insisted that the plan was not to assassinate him. The plan was not to assassinate him. Not really believable. Their mission, Noel and another person who debriefed the men, said they were told was to arrest the president at his home and go to the presidential palace with him. The two Haitian Americans said they were there, but they didn't go to kill the president, Noel said. They said they knew what happened, but they didn't participate in the killing. They were there to translate. In Haiti, it is illegal to arrest anyone after 6 p.m. unless it's in the commission of a crime, something that Noel thinks is a hole in the men's story. He says Salgas and Vincent insisted that they had a copy of an arrest warrant that night. Asked who provided the warrant, the men claimed they did not remember. The idea, they told another interviewer, was to install someone else as president, a claim interim Haiti's National Police Chief Leon Charles told the Herald on Saturday he doesn't believe. They wanted to kill him, Charles said about Maurice, who came into office in 2017. They knew what they were doing. Maurice, 53, was assassinated inside his bedroom. His body was hit by 12 rounds. Justice of the Peace Carl Henry told the Herald. Wearing blue pants and a white shirt covered in blood, Maurice was laying on his back at the floor of his bed when Dustin arrived about 5 hours after the 1 a.m. assault. Dustin said the wooden front door of the home and the door to Maurice's upstairs bedroom was riddled with bullets. The bedroom was splattered with blood.
Dustin, who since the investigation said he's had to go into hiding because of threats. According to the initial statement issued by the government of Haiti, Maurice was killed around 1 a.m., which would coincide with the time residents in Perline 5, the neighborhood where the president's home is located, told him they were awakened by the sounds of gunshots, Destin said. But snippets of video footage that have emerged from the night show a timestamp of 2:44 a.m., raising questions about when exactly was Maurice and his wife wounded. Also unclear the arrival time of the group of 26 Colombians and 2 Haitian Americans that Haitian police say were involved in the assault. The 2 Haitian Americans told interviewers that the entire operation unfolded in an hour and 15 minutes and referred to a Mike as the colonel of the troop. A source told the Herald that a man who used the name Mike is among the 17 Colombians who have been detained. No one else, including the first family's daughter or his son, were hurt. Also unharmed, members of the president's security entourage, who are responsible for his safety. Although 3 police officers were later taken hostage by some of the attackers after they fled the scene, the suspects who were interviewed said they went to a nearby house behind the Petition Valley substation. On Saturday, 3 days after Maurice's death, and as Colombian law enforcement officials began helping Haitian investigate the assassination, snippets began to emerge about the group, from their time in Haiti to who recruited them. The 2 Haitian Americans were evasive and offered few details, including declining to say who hired them. But Charles, 2 judges, and 1 other individual who debriefed both Haitian American suspects in custody and at least 1 of the Colombians shared some of the information they gathered with a Herald reporter. Of 28 people believed to have taken part in the attack, 26 are Colombians and 2 are Haitian Americans. Haitian police have said. Colombian government officials have said at least some of the men were former members of the military. Charles said the men were recruited by a South Florida-based company counter-terrorist unit on behalf of a high-profile Haitian doctor. Charles declined to name the physician. They said they were hired to provide security to a VIP, a source who spoke to some of the suspects, told the Herald. The source requested anonymity because of the sensitive nature of the investigation. During their stay in Haiti, the group lived in two different houses in the Port-au-Prince area. Solange lived in somewhere in Potichin-Val and Vincent along Route Ferry. Noel said the men told him, together with the Colombian commandos, they would often eat together with the Haitians translating for the Colombians. Both men said they spoke Spanish along with English and Haitian Creole. Noel spoke to both Solange and Vincent in a police station shortly after the two men said they had called their boss and then surrendered to police late Wednesday night. Noel Said, his interview began around 11:45 p.m. and lasted until 3 a.m. Solange told Noel that he had been living in Haiti for a month, while Vincent said he had been in the country for the past 6 months. Joseph told another interviewer that he had been going in and out of Haiti since January, but had been in the country steadily for the past 3 months. The Colombians, Vincent told Noel, had been in Haiti for the past 3 months. They said they were all being paid $3,000 a month through counter-terrorist unit during their time in Haiti. The night of the assassination, some members of the group arrived on foot and others in vehicles. The same way they came is the same way they left, said the source who also interviewed the men. Noel said the men said armed members of the team entered the president's residence, somehow getting past a guarded security gate and then gaining access to the home. Solange and Vincent claimed that as translators, there are a lot of details about the operation they didn't know, Noel said. At one point, the judge said he asked the men if you had the mission to arrest the president. When the men came out without the president, what did you say? That's when one of the men said they found the president already dead. Noel said, they said they didn't kill him. That's what one of them said. One of the Colombians said. Residents who live in Porline, a neighborhood of million-dollar mansions above the hills of Pottenville in Haiti's capital, reported hearing the sound of gunshots at around 1 a.m. The bullets, they said, appeared to come from high-powered weapons. A neighbor said they heard someone say DEA, cooperation, Destin said in English. They heard someone translating in Creole, and they heard a foreign language. Both hands up, lie down is what they heard. The fact that the DEA was cited may not have been a coincidence. Sources say Vincent has a history of car theft in Haiti, federal passport fraud in the U.S., and had once worked as a DEA informant who went by the name Olivio in South Florida. The Biden administration, the State Department, and other federal authorities say the DEA was not involved in the assassination of Maurice. Moreover, the Haitian president was not under federal investigation, United States authorities told the Herald Saturday. The Federal Bureau of Investigation and Homeland Security investigations are assisting the Haitian government in the assassination probe both in South Florida and Haiti. Agents have been questioning people in the Miami area. By the time specialized units of the Haitian police arrived on the scene, the attackers were already gone. Destin arrived at the scene around 6 a.m. along with a forensics team. None of the president's security agents were present when he arrived at the president's home that morning, Destin said. A maid and a gardener told him that the attackers came into the house and handcuffed them. They described the assailants as foreigners with big guns. They were crying, screaming. Dustin said they could not even give me the time it happened. They said they heard a lot of shooting. Maurice's daughter, Jamel, told Dustin she was inside her brother's room when she heard gunshots and hid in his bathroom. When she heard things calm down, she heard her mother's voice, Dustin said. Jamel and Maurice then saw 3 people who appeared and said, "We are with you," Dustin said. They came and took her and her mother to a hospital. First Lady Martine Maurice was wounded. Police said she had been shot in the arm. She was flown out of the country to Miami for recovery.